I think that's one of the things that can be done.
What should happen as it relates to driver's license?
Well, no, nothing. I mean, I don't think...
No, what should happen to those hundreds of thousands of people who are here without legal status, who would want to drive and do it in a responsible way with a license and with insurance? What should the policy be?
The policy should be that immigration laws should be enforced. We should not be doing something to encourage more illegal immigration.
So they should not be able to get a license?
No, and I think...
So if they get a car and they drive illegally without insurance, you share with us what you believe to be the upshot of that.
I think that, and it's very unfortunate that this situation has grown to the proportions that it has over the last 10 or 20 years. The problem is, and I know I'm going to sound like I'm the bad guy, but the problem is that it has to be made somewhat uncomfortable for illegal immigrants to be here, the idea being that there are a number of them, and I think it would be a large number, that will return to their home countries. And I say that because that has happened in other states.
And that would be good for this country?
I believe it would be good for this country to have a much lower illegal immigrant population. I am fully aware of the fact that there is a number of people here that are illegal immigrants, that have roots here, that have family here, that don't have a criminal history, and I think that number of people can be dealt with at a certain point. But when you have 12 to 20 million illegal immigrants in this country, and you have some of those illegal immigrants having children that then become quote-unquote anchor babies, and then you have chain migration with them having the ability to bring over relatives.
I want to clarify a couple of things.
You have a situation that
Give Shai an opportunity.
That's out of control.
I want to clarify a couple of things. First of all, there are more foreign-born
legal immigrants and illegal.
They're American citizens, they're documented, than there are documented. A majority of the undocumented are part of families of documented and American citizens. That's why it's so complex of an issue and does not lend itself to simplistic discussions. With regard to E-Verify, the system is in disrepute. It is inaccurate, it is inefficient.
Absolutely not.
And for example, the 287G system that was discussed has just
287G system, that's where local officials, police are deputized to function as federal.
Which actually happened in Morristown, New Jersey.
No, it was attempted in Morristown, New Jersey.
Very controversial.
And it has not occurred yet. And part of the reason it hasn't occurred yet is because it's too expensive. The county decided.
What is the relevance to this discussion?
The relevance is that, for example, this is where there is a severe problem with alienating immigrants, that when you even start discussing 287G, immigrants already, including documented immigrants, have this apprehension with regard to law enforcement because of the culture that we've developed over the past 30 years, and for that matter, going back to the time when the Irish
integrating, they segregate themselves out of society. Now, let's
move underground.
We have 5 minutes. Shai, I wonder if I can move on.
Sure.
One of the recommendations of the panel was that the state should provide services that are culturally and linguistically competent, or in a culturally and linguistically competent manner. What does that mean?
What it means is making sure that in our government agencies in particular, that people are trained, that websites are available, that translators are available, that we have a diverse population, but we're balancing this, and we want to make this clear, that the primary goal, the ultimate goal, is teaching everybody English. Right. That just because the panel recommends
then why have these separate services?
Because we believe in multi-faceted approaches. We don't.
No, what's the motivation?
The panel didn't approach.
One second. What's the motivation? What's the motivation? In fact,
integrating
to learn it.
Right. But if you want to immigrate, look. Let me give you my story. I came to the United States from Cuba. I lived for the first few months in Miami. I didn't have to speak a word of English, and we were taught classes in Spanish. I didn't know English. Then we were forced to move to Chicago, where nobody spoke Spanish, and I had to learn English. In other words, the greatest motivation, the greatest incentive for me to learn English is that I had to learn English. If you create a situation where everybody gets their services with a translator, you are preventing integration rather than encouraging it, are you not?
I disagree. Look, there are perspectives on how you teach a kid to swim. Some people believe throw the kid in the water and let's see what happens.
So how's bilingual education working?
Bilingual education is working well. The problem It's working well, but it can always be improved, and that's part of the recommendation of the
And let me
report,
just-
that we
before we-
sometimes need English immersion, and sometimes we need
Before
bilingual
we go on,
education,
Shai-
and a
Does
lot
the
of
word-
times a mix, and it's not
Shai-
either or.
Shai,
It's
just
a
one
mix.
second. Before we go on,
Does the
a
word
follow-up.
schizophrenia mean anything to anybody here?
Well, again,
On the
but
one
I'm not just saying,
hand,
Doctor, we asked Shai not to engage in name calling, and just because you have an
No, no.
MD doesn't mean you can use schizophrenia, you know, on the
No,
on
I'm
the
not
set.
calling anyone schizophrenic. No,
Why is
I'm
it relevant
saying
to this discussion?
It is relevant. Well, on the one hand, they're saying they want to integrate immigrants into the society. On the other hand, they want to set up all these translator and website services and all this. I mean, I think your story was very telling. The way people get integrated into American society is to come here, get put into situations where where they're forced to learn English, and to learn about the civic and in the civic culture and social culture.
Right.
And that's been the.
Are you for English only?
It depends. Well.
Are you for English across the board only?
I believe it should. I believe it should be used in government offices, things of that
Exclusively.
nature. I would agree. Yeah.
In school, exclusively.
I'm not in favor of bilingual
I'm gonna ask you,
education.
you're
I think
an
it holds
MD.
people back.
You're an MD.
Yes, I am.
Your area of expertise is?
My area of specialization?
Yes.
Psychiatry.
Someone comes to you, a patient comes to you, they want to
Yes.
see you. They are here without legal status, but they
Yes.
have the money to pay.
Yes.
They've gotten their money together, they're concerned about their mental health, and they come and see you. Would you treat them?
Of course. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm not a cop.
No doubt.
Of course.
If they didn't have the money.
Well,
She would treat him even if they were you.
I just want to clarify. And
Especially if they were
you
you.
Have the money?
So the money is the issue.
Okay, we have
Meaning
about
they have it.
no, I
If they
mean-
have it, you treat them.
Well, if I was I'm not in private practice. If I was in private practice, if it was an emergency, of course I would do what I could. I mean, I can't. Obviously, any professional that has a practice, and I assume you're.
I don't think it's a fair question.
I mean,
appropriate
how much-
line
How
of
much time do we
discussion.
have left? I think less than a minute.
Appreciate your concern for fairness, Shai.
We have a minute left, Shai. You know, the response to some of the recommendations, at least as it was presented by the press, has not been positive. Most New Jerseyans disagree with the recommendation as they understand it
That was a
about
push poll.
institution.
That was a push poll by Monmouth County. It's interesting. The pollster, when I questioned about the pollster's technique, the pollster
You're
said,
talking about Patrick Murray?
right, said, well, I wanted to do it in a way that
We got
most New
30 seconds.
Jerseyans could understand, demeaning
Okay,
the
so you
intelligence.
questioned the
So what's
poll.
wrong with that?
Keeping it because it was a push poll. it
Okay,
was
but in 30
simplistic.
seconds, are you?
Didn't explain what in-state
let's
tuition
Shai,
was.
one
Shai,
second.
let's cut to we got about 25 seconds. Are you optimistic that the population of New Jersey will understand the recommendations and the need to integrate in 10 seconds?
I'm optimistic that, in the words of Bob Dylan, the times they are a-changing, and at some point in time we will have, by Thanksgiving, comprehensive immigration
Okay,
reform
10 seconds is over.
nationwide.
Doctor, I'm sorry, that was the last word.
Dr.
And that's it for this edition of Inside Trenton. For my colleague Steve Adubato, I'm Rafael Piroman. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Remember, we'd like to hear from you, so please call us at 1-800-426-7027, extension 8799. Email us at InsideTrenton@13.org, or write us at the address on your screen.